Hey, welcome back to Two Stupid Guys Trade Stocks. I am Dylan.
And I'm Vinny. And holy crap, for those of us who've been around Alibaba stock for a while, today was one of those beautiful days where we actually feel vindicated as you watch your portfolio go up 8% in one goddamn day. We're going to talk about the news headline because it doesn't quite make sense. We're going to get into why it may make sense after all. Let's see
Two Stupid Guys Trade Stocks.
All right, man. What I really want to see, Dylan, is I want to see the big, sexy volume bar compared to other days.
Oh, I'm going to show you.
To look at here in a second.
Don't you worry. So here's the 5-minute chart. I just want to show, like, as you can see, it went up. This is insane volume for this time of day, by the way. Not time of day, the beginning, but as you're going to see, the volume was off the charts. We hit like 400% at one point. It literally just never stopped going up, and then it dipped towards the end, but regained in the after hours. You ready? Oh, I gotta move my face. Darn it.
Oh, yeah. Just power, just trucking like a powerhouse right up the hill. Oh, that is nice.
It's about 4 times ish the regular day.
Yeah.
And more importantly, it pushed us right up through the 200 moving average and the 100 moving average. There was no selling. Look at this. It's just a solid white bar.
Oh, that's nice, man. We'll see if we can hold it. That's the real question. Because this is something I've been talking about for a while. Comparing stocks like NVIDIA, which is priced for perfection, compared to Baba, where all they have to do is get one thing kind of right, and
it's the exact opposite. 8%. It's the exact opposite. They're priced to get nothing right.
Exactly. And don't forget, our main man, Michael Burry, was buying this stuff in his most recent 13F quarterly filing, with someone else we followed for a while. And it's nice to see that, another person that views valuations maybe like somewhat in our realm of logic was buying the same kind of stock. But that's always sexy.
Also,
but here's the headline, all right? And on the surface,
shares.
It makes no goddamn sense, right?
Got it.
They were fined $985 million. Sorry, like almost $1 billion.
Got it.
Why did the stock go up?
Well, I know the answer, but
so the answer is very particular. So this article from CNBC kind of gives you the backstory here a little bit about how they were ready to go public as an IPO. It got shut down, and that basically started the war between the CCP and kind of private enterprise in the country of China. There were multiple companies that got fined and all this sort of stuff, and it was a multi-year kind of fiasco, if you will. But they talk about how there were signs that it was starting to ease. Now that Ant Group was getting approval as recently as January to expand their consumer business, things like that. But there's one particular line I think really kind of highlights why they saw so much enthusiasm here. And it's right here. The central banks now is normalized supervision, all right, suggesting that the strict measures like fines may be calming down. That's what they're hoping for, is that we're through this period where the CCP was cracking down heavily on all these private companies, trying to really get them all back in line after Jack Ma and his famous kind of public meltdown or whatever you want to say, criticism.
Yikes.
Yeah. So it's sort of a pretty extended period of time that we've had to take as absolute barrage as Alibaba shareholders. And now we're hoping that this is maybe a sign that we're moving past that phase. You started to see the Chinese kind of central bank has started to do kind of more accommodative financial kind of policy, if you will, trying to stimulate their economy to grow in comparison to the rest of the world right now, which is really doing a restrictive policy. But we're hoping we're through this phase and that we now are going to return not only to the accommodative policy, but also to the point where there's not going to be any specific kind of limitations or microscope or kind of microscopic analysis of the moves of a company like Ant Group, which may be clearing a potential likelihood for them to go forward with their IPO, which was initially planned, right?
So I think that was the main part of the Chinese good news today was the Ant Group thing. Because if you look, yes, all Chinese stocks were up today. That's what I was going to say. I also bought 100 shares of JD. Just got to get in there, bro. It was up like 6%. But if you look at how much JD was up versus Baba, they're both up a bunch, but Baba was up a lot more because it had 2 things. And the Ant Group is definitely enticing. I can't remember the percentage.
So they own 33% of Ant Group. Ant Group in itself had almost a $40 billion valuation at one point in time. Still not like the most massive thing in the world as far as moving their needle. Don't forget, like Alibaba is not the smallest company by far. But we are talking about, still a decent chunk of equity, even at the reduced valuations now they're talking about with Ant Group as compared to, like I said, their peak valuation was almost $40 billion. But either way, I think it's a positive move forward that they're, hopefully moving this past this cycle of, strict kind of lockdowns and punishment of both their economy and of individual businesses. So everyone's kind of optimistic, I would say, at this point. More optimism.
I'm going to zoom out real quick because I just want to show Baba's slide here. All right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is, what is that? 320.
Nah.
Yikes.
Yep. I know. Comparison to Meta, which, hit 90, which is, a similar low, say, and was back to 300 within a period of 6 months, a little bit more than that, 9 months.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's just straight up.
Yeah. Baba has been kind of much more depressed for a much longer period of time. Unfortunately, they haven't really done the things with buybacks that I'd like to see them do during this time period. But still, it staying lower for a longer period of time, I think, is a good thing ultimately for people that have that longer term time horizon with Alibaba stock, like I do.
Absolutely.
Like
All right, guys, give us a like and subscribe if you had a great day in the market. Finally, some good news from Baba, because just getting berated all the time. It's so depressing.
Exactly. All right, catch you next one.